Hi everyone, post-show Wacko Jacko here. Just a heads up, I forgot to turn off my music audio for the first minute and a half, so if you don't mind listening to my music, and then, yeah, that's fine, but yeah, I apologise so much about this. Yeah, enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Splashdown podcast for season 2. I'm your host Wacko Jacko, and today marks either 107 or 106 days till Splatoon 3 is released. There's 106 or 7 days left until I can play Gucci in Splatoon 3. Basically, that's all I'm looking forward to now at this point, really. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things we still haven't known or learnt about Splatoon 3, except for, we've been introduced to some of the new special weapons. We've known about what weapons are returning. We've known about maybe 1 or 2 stages that are definitely going to be in Splatoon 3. We've also learned about the post-game thing where you get your rewards and medals and whatnot. And a bit of customization with the banner and tags and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's... Obviously, we've still got, like I said, 100 plus days to go till Splatoon 3 comes out. But, Today's episode, we're going to talk a bit about the special weapons that so far that have been announced for Splatoon 3, and so I was particularly interested because a lot of the Splatoon 3 special weapons are basically, I guess, a bit of a callback to Splatoon 1, really, in some way, I guess. If you're looking at, for example, like the Killer Whale 5.1, that's pretty much a throwback to the Killer Whale on Splatoon 1, but obviously all these specials that we're going to be talking about are like throwback to Splatoon 1 with slightly bit of a twist, bit of a fresh and modern take, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking forward to touring this. I should also turn down my music. I did not realise that was on. Yes, I will have to say, again, for those who are listening for the second time, that yes, this is an interactive show. I am streaming this recording session over on twitch.tv /WackoJacko_, I think so, yeah. Or underscore at the front, I'm not sure. Link will be in the description, obviously, so in the show notes. So yeah, as I was saying, Ernie is in the chat. Hello, Ernie. So yes, today we are talking about the special weapons that have been announced so far for Splatoon 3. Now, at time of recording, I think there's about 6 special weapons we are aware of. Yes, 7 actually, 7 of them so far. I'm not going to be talking about the potential of the bomb rushes, because we pretty sure might be given that bomb rushes might be coming back. I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't really bother me if they don't or not, to be honest, but you never know. Doki's in the chat. Hello, Doki. Welcome to this streaming recording service. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, this episode is basically just talking about the special weapons. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And the first one I want to talk about is the Killer Whale 5.1. So this is kind of cool because obviously I'm going to be talking a lot about Splatoon 2 references and pinpoints here, because I'll be playing a lot more Splatoon 2 than Splatoon 1. I know there'll be a few Splatoon 1 veterans who are still sticking to Splatoon 1. They probably dip their toes into Splatoon 2, but some of the weapon balances in Splatoon 2 are very ordinary, and it's kind of lost that freshness, I guess. It's become very stale and I feel like even with Killer Whale 5.1, right, it's a bit of with throwing away with the with the Stingray, right? So I'm gonna be comparing this to Stingray because obviously, yeah, Splatoon 1 Killer Whale I can't remember too well, even strategically and all that stuff. I just remember that Killer Whale. You're where do I aim this? Oh, plonk, and then bang. I remember, was it Bluefin Depot? Or the oil rig stage, as well as even Moro Towers. There was always, I remember when I was playing, there was always certain the same spots I'd always put Killer Whale, and you'd always aim at the that snipe where the Elias would be or the charges would be, because obviously that's where they are, so that's where you can aim. And then also you'd aim Killer Whale just at those points where it's very narrow areas where opponents could be swimming or walking through. So obviously you just right there, either it's a slope or but so Killer Whale 5.1. It's nice. I kind of like the appearance of it and how it works. So Basically, going back to Stingray for a sec here, Stingray was, well, I should say, it's just really a safe special to use. Like, I absolutely hate it. I can't use it. I cannot use it to save my own skin. Really, I just can't deal with Stingray. Like, I don't know. People get splat so easily. Like, is there a thing where you gotta like rely on your teammates to damage people a bit more than get the splats? Because Stingray's not me. But Killer Whale 5.1 might be able to change that for me. So Killer Whale. So basically, I'm just going to be reading. I'm going through a script here about what I've noted down of Killer Whale 5.1. Now, for starters, Killer Whale 5.1. The name is a terrible name. It's too long, far too long. Like we nickname weapons in Splatoon 2, like Kenza Splatter Shot, K Shot, Kenza Pro, K Pro, Kunda, Kenza Undercover, V Pro, and all that stuff. Killer Whale 5.1 is way too long of a name, so I'm interested to see what nicknames people come up with this thing, because Killer Whale 5.1, like, I think people could be still like saying, "Oh, I'm going to use Killer Whale. I'm going to use Killer Whale." And like, I don't know how it's going to be integrated, like what people are going to say. But anyway, just call it WoW. Yes, just call it WoW. K 5.1. Yeah, that could work. Yeah. Ernie's just saying there better be a better mode to replace Clan Blitz. We're going to talk about that in a different episode. But yes, maybe. I might talk about that, like I said, next episode. Killer Whale we're talking about here. So the Killer Whale 5.1 consists of 6 floating speakers, in contrast to the Killer Whale's singular megaphone. So yeah, you just jam the big megaphone and go straight ahead, whatever. Each floating speaker can fire a laser beam for a total of 6 laser beams. This is a weird one. I'm not sure of like how. Like, if you notice that on the back of the speakers, there seems to be like a thing that looks like a suction bomb, which kind of makes sense because like that's where the power of the laser's coming through. That's like the ammunition, I guess you could say. So like, yeah, that's kind of cool kind of thing. Because like, I can't remember if Killer Whale had anything like that. Killer Whale was just like big giant megaphone with a frame, and that was it. But I can't remember if there was any sort of tank or anything there. But yeah, it was kind of cool. Kind of cool. Like the suction bomb sort of thing. So when activated, 6 speakers spawn around the user, which is a nice effect. I like that. Then the speakers fire wall-piercing beams similar to Stingray and the original Killer Whale. The speakers do not fire at the same time, which is a kind of a good thing though. I feel like it's like making Stingray aggressive. Because like in the trailer, one of the gameplay trailers, we saw someone using it like they were kind of like frontlining almost, like poorly frontlining though. Let's be honest, poorly frontlining. But yeah, the way they were using it, like, and they were aiming straight down. They weren't really aiming like more horizontal. It was just kind of diagonally down. And like so they didn't fire at the same time. They were going one by one. Yeah, so the speakers do not fire at the same time, and they slowly target towards users' opponents on their own, which is interesting. On their own. I mean, I guess tented missiles kind of do that. Like, you lock on your tented missiles, the person, and then they kind of go here, there, no, here, there, and the person's like, you missed. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works when they kind of move on their own. I wonder if there's going to be like with special power up and all that, if that's even coming back. That is. Like, I wonder what the effects of special power-ups going to be like. Who knows? The most statistical information, such as duration and base damage, are currently unknown, obviously. As of the release date. Now, as part of it now, so far, like we saw in the gameplay trailers, it's got Range Blaster's got it, Sloshing Machine, 52 Gal, and Tri-Stinger. So that's the bow, I believe. They call it Tri-Stinger. Stringer even. So yeah, maybe I'm not sure if this is the weapon. This is a special I want with Gucciber. I mean, because this is another point of view I'm going to be coming from. Is obviously as a Gucciber player, but I don't know. I don't feel like it doesn't seem to fit what I feel like with my game style and with the Gucciber game style as well. I can feel like Chargers probably use this. but then maybe not. I don't know, because you think about Splatoon 2, and obviously you got the charges, like the vanilla charges and whatnot. They've all got Stingray, so like it'd be weird to me if they didn't have Stingray. Like I think was it one of the first trailers we saw the charger use like a was it the shield? I think it might have been the big bubble that the charger had, which is weird because that's not really. I mean, it can help it to some way, I guess, but who knows? Anyway, it might not be as straightforward as I think. This is one note I had. Killer Whale 5.1 is set also confirmed to appear in 7-Run Next Wave, where it can be shooting 2 beams at once and then shooting the other 4 at another, which is nice. I wonder if that would work as well in normal game modes. Like, it must be. What if it's a button activated timing thing? Like, I'll fire 2 there, so you press the activation button on the 2. Like, so if you want to fire 2 there, 2 there, or 2 over there, could you do that? Maybe. I wonder. And like, if certain modes are coming back, like Tower Control, for example, could be very interesting to see how people implement strategies with K5.1, I should say. Yeah. So, basic trivia about Killer Whale. It appears to be like a modified version of the Killer Whale in Splatoon 1. Obvious. But yeah, it's like I said at the start, it's some of these specials are throwback to the original Splatoon 1, which is nice, because I feel like the player base in Splatoon 1 who didn't get into Splatoon 2, this will bring them across, I believe. I hope. So this little niche trivias I like. The number refers to the 5.1 surrounding the surround sound audio system commonly used in home theaters. Funny enough, the camera's shaking a lot. I'm sorry. Funny enough, one of my houses growing up as a kid with my family, we did have surround sound, and it's not particularly that cool, really. Especially like when your mum has a controlling music and all she's playing is Enya. You know, I'm a red time. You know that one. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the idea though. That's a reference to and a dot point on that is like the 5.1 capable audio systems consist of 5 relatively similar small full spectrum speakers, as well as additional low frequency speakers. Despite this, Killer Whale's 5.1 6 speakers all appear to be identical, which is, you know, I mean, that would be too crazy if there were like 2, like one big one and then 5 small ones. Although that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Like have one that's slightly half the size of the Killer Whale from Splatoon 1, and then have smaller ones, or 5 small ones. Yeah. The etymology of it. So Killer Whale 5.1 is a combination of Killer Whale. So obviously, this is the name of it, I guess, is what it refers to here. So yeah, obviously the play of words with Killer Whale, the big whale that, you know, the orca, as people also call them. Yeah, while 5.1, the most common format for reference its plural speakers, notably both Wii U and Nintendo Switch supports 5.1 output. So that's also a cool little reference there. That's, you know, that's why it's 5.1. Because I think it's the size of the, yeah. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, Killer Whale. Not sure if I'll, you know, I don't know. It's not my playstyle, I don't think. But yeah, could be fun. It's, you know, it's going to be like a thing where Splatoon 3, everyone gets it day one, and everyone wants to use, like, everyone's like, oh, I can't wait to use Crab Tank, or I can't wait to use Ink Strike, or I can't wait to use Killer Whale. So, I mean, there's going to be lots of patches and stuff to come, obviously, post-launch, so who knows what's going to happen, if it's going to be a special that's going to be too overly used or too overly powered, but time will tell. So, yeah. Alright, guys, the next special we want to talk about, well, I'm going to talk about, sorry, is the Ink Strike. So, This is the whole thing I was talking about in the previous episode, where there's a lot of things that are like around the gimmick of 3. So try this, try that. You'll see, like we'll talk about the Trizuka later, obviously being 3 try. So try Ink Strike. Now, when I first saw this in the in one of the trailer, I thought, oh, was that a burst bomb rush? Because the way they were throwing at the thing so quickly, I didn't notice they were beacons for the Ink Strikes to come down. But yeah, it caught me off by surprise. I'm like, oh, that's random. But anyway, because I thought they were just throwing 3 bombs, I'm like, that's weird. But yeah, the Ink Strikes. So yeah, overall the triple Ink Strike features bright green and orange colours, similar to the original Ink Strike from Splatoon 1. Yeah, obviously. So yeah, this is obviously a callback to that. The triple Ink Strike consists of 3 parts. So we've got the missile launcher, which is on your back, 3 throwable beacons, and the 3 missiles. So yeah, pretty straightforward. The launcher resembles a multifunctional pencil case with 3 pencil holders where the 3 missiles are launched from, and a drawer at the bottom for 2 extra throwable beacons. So obviously this way you throw out the beacons in the spots where you want them to be affected, and that's where the missiles will go. The throwable beacons are based on pencil sharpeners, with a single hole where the pencil would be inserted along the equator, and a clear red dome on the top half where the sharpener blade is visible, and pencil shavings would be held. So this is a lot, of playing on the pencil case sort of traditional thing. Which I don't think we had them here in Australia, to be honest. I think they're more of a North America thing. Maybe Japan, I don't really recall it. I finished primary school 2004? 2005? Yeah, it's a long time ago, so I don't seem to recall. When the beacon lands, the bottom half transforms to a stand, and the beacon emits a signal laser from top upwards to the sky. The missiles resemble pencils with a long hexagonal main body with some inkling text written on the side. A clear red protector with googly eye covering the tip that resembles the nose cone of the original Ink Strike. And the missile propellers covering the eraser end that deploy upon launch. So yeah, they've just basically taken the Ink Strike from Splatoon 1, made it smaller, and blast radius a bit smaller. And then yeah, it's just going to have that devastating effect. Once activated, the user launches 3 missiles into the air immediately. Then the user can throw up to 3 beacons, each of which marks where each missile will land with a landing marker. Then each missile strikes at where each beacon lands, and upon impact creates a giant ink tornado. That's the first time I've ever heard it being called an ink tornado. I guess it kind of is, but like it's a set tornado. It's not really moving. It's there. So that inks the ground and splits the opponent's coordinate. It appears that the missiles do not leave behind ink if they hit the ground after the end of the match. Ooh, that's a shame. Okay, well, note to self, or not to use everyone, don't use Ink Strike when it's 1 second to go, because it won't count apparently. As of the release date reveal trailer, it is a part of the Slosher's kits. So yeah, that was the only time we saw it used, I believe, was in the Slosher. They did have a video for the actual special itself, and yeah, that was with the Slosher, obviously, so. Some data, or some fun data. You guys want some numbers for this thing? Missile delay after a beacon lands, roughly 1.33 seconds. This is whether the base duration is currently not known, so I guess, from time to time. So we don't know anything about damage or turf painted, stuff like that yet, but I guess we'll figure that out when people start doing labbing, which is going to be crazy. Yeah. So we had a few quotes from the Twitterverse, but I'm not too particularly interested in what they have to say. There was one thing, I forgot to write it down. So obviously with the Splatoon 1 being Ink Strike, okay, so the Japanese name is basically Triple Tornado, which makes sense of why we're talking about. It looks like a giant tornado when you land it. So Triple Tornado. I think in Splatoon 1 it might be just called Tornado or something like that. But yeah, Triple Tornado. Now, I've been kind of like thinking about what's better, English names or the Japanese names, and like this is the point where I think the Japanese name for the weapon just wins. So yeah, I think personally maybe I kind of want Ink Strike for GoTuber, but I don't really know yet. Like I definitely don't want Killer Wow. Don't think I want Killer Wow. Ink Strike could be fun. It could be fun actually. But who knows? Yeah. Again, I don't know how spam it's gonna be. Like I feel like if any of the specials are gonna get heavily nerfed, it's either gonna be Triple Ink Strike or Killer Whale. But we might talk about that later down the track when we see more details and information about them. Now, time to talk about my most, least convincing special, and that's the Zipcaster. So Zipcaster basically is the inkjet of Splatoon 3 in a way. We saw it in that trailer, that gameplay trailer, where there was a brush player using it, and it made me angry when I saw them using it because there was an opportunity the second time they used it where the charger was just sitting there on top of the platform near the bridge, and they just completely went over them and didn't bother splatting them, which really, really boiled something inside me. I don't know why. But yeah, so Zipcaster is basically a big grapple hook kind of slingshot thing where you can just fling yourself to one side of the map kind of thing. If like we saw in the trailer video where the brush was on the ground and then there was the charge up on the billboard grate thing, and the Zipcaster to the billboard and landed right next to the charge and splattered them and got the callback after the special ran out. But I'll just talk about the notes that I wrote down for us. So activating the Zipcaster coats the user in team colored ink, so kind of like an ink armor thing, I think. It also gives the user a helmet. Yes, I guess, yeah, resembling the squid or octopus form, and a scarf resembling their tentacle, both of which depend on the user's species. So that's nice that they've kind of, depending on if you're an inkling or an octoling, that the outfit changes. The user can also stretch their arms while in this form. Is that important though? I don't know if that's entirely important. Although it does concern me now thinking about so if you're saying that Zipcaster, an inkling or an octoling could just fling their arm, pretend I'm ripping off my arm and I'm just placing it further. How long can these inklings and octolings regularly stretch their legs and arms or whatever? That's weird to me. Do they have limbs in there? I don't know. So the description of the Zipcaster transforms the user into a form with long stretchy arms. While in this form, the user is able to grab onto far off walls and travel quickly to the targeted spot, creating a small explosion upon arrival, which is kind of cool actually. That's a lot of attention to detail. I feel like that's going to help with a lot of chip damage especially. When the ink runs out, the user will travel back to where the special was activated, ending the special like the inkjet. The return spot is visible to all players, so that's gonna be fun to just you're coming back and you look down and you're like, oh, there's an idiot just going just with a splatter shot or something, just I'm gonna get this easy kill, and then you've got drop roll and they completely miss you and then you go, what just happened? What? It's drop roll is such a funny ability. It's a weird special where people are like, oh, you don't need drop roll. Oh, you need drop roll. It appears to be in the Splashomatic and the Octobrush sets. So interesting combinations there. I'm not sure. The Octobrush, I feel like that is perfect because it's it comes across as that ninja type look, that vibe of a ninja. So it's stealthily going around and then just with a brush. Splash kind of makes sense. Close range fire. I guess it could be good for picking off charges that just don't move. That's right, I'm calling you out, E-leaders. when you flaming, when the team's taking the objective and moving forward, don't just stand near spawn, thinking you're going to I'm going to get this kill from the other side of the map and no one's going to do anything about it because I've got all the range, but you don't. Anyway, so I'm going to be taking note of some things with their names as well. So I was talking about before the Japanese names for the Triple Link Strike being Tripuru Tornado, which is nice. The Japanese name for this is Shock Wonder, which I think I did some research. I can't remember if it was the right thing or not, but they were saying it's a reference to a type of, I'm not sure if it was a fighter or if it was based off a certain mythical thing. I'm not entirely sure. I think there was to a mythical character or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but it was something like that. So yeah, that's kind of cool though that we got it though. So yeah, I think it's a miss from me. I think I'll pass. I'm not convinced on the Zipcaster. Another one I'm not entirely convinced on. The Big Bubbler. The big bloody bubbler. Mate, the big bubbler. He's a joke. Oh, let me just stand this giant shield and you can't do anything about it. Yeah. I'm so safe and cool here because I'm in my big bubbler. Okay. The name itself just irks me so much. It irks me so much. The Japanese name for this thing is called the Great Barrier. That is 1,000 times better than Big Bubbler. Obviously, this is kind of, flashback into Splatoon 1 when you had the bubbler. Although, to be fair, that kind of worked better. But, I don't know the name of it, what it was back in Splatoon 1 for Japanese, but Big Bubbler, that missed opportunity. I get it, you want to make pun names, especially when it's, water-based or sea creature-based, anything like that. Big Bubble is just the worst. Thankfully though, this Splatoon 3 it's not going to be region locked or language locked. So I probably will play in Japanese just because the names are better. Even though it's not written in English words or letters, the Japanese I can read fairly well in Japanese. I can't do kanji because kanji can just I can't. I tried. Trust me, I tried. But the Great Barrier is such a great name. It's so good. The fact that, because even the Great Barrier Reef, I feel like even the Japanese are acknowledging, oh, the Great Barrier Reef out off the coast of Australia. Mate, that's brilliant. And they'd be like, let's call it the Big Bubble because it looks like a big bubble. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. No. You had the opportunity right there, and you just went, nah. Big bubbler. Stupid. Anyway, I don't know why I'm so mad about this. This is the one thing I'm so mad about. And the other thing is too, because Splatoon 1 with Bubbler, you could share the bubble with your teammates. So all they had to do was you activate it and then someone comes up to you and touches you and then they get their own little bubble, which is cool. Obviously in Splatoon 2 we didn't get that. We got Ink Armor, which was equally Ink Armor is killed Splatoon 2, to be honest. Same with Tenta Missiles, which is why I'm glad they got rid of them for Try Ink Strike. Because oh my gosh, gone will be the days of flaming people spamming nothing but Ink Armor and try Tenta Missiles. I've already got Splatoon 3 in my brain, guys. I'm just saying the wrong names already. I just can't wait for Splatoon 3 because the comp scene, well, not so much the comp scene, but I guess the meta scene is just stale. It's so stale, and it's so unfortunate too because they were Splatshot Junior, and Zap, and then I don't know, maybe the Squiffers. I don't see so many Squiffers as I do the other two, but so many armor spams, and Jet Scorcher can die from Splatoon 2. I'm not saying Splatoon 3 Jet Scorcher will be bad. Just both custom and vanilla Jet Scorcher from Splatoon 2, terrible, absolutely atrocious. I watched someone play stream Splatoon 2, they were playing Jet Squatcher. They spent the first 5-10 seconds of that ranked game, I think it was Rainmaker or Tower Control, on Blackbelly, and that's all they did. They were just farming Tenta Missile oil, Stingray. I'm like, no, this can't be fun for you. There's no way that can be fun for you. Just hurts me that so much that people who are trying to get like better X power and everything have such a heavy reliance on just farming specials, which I hope they get the balance right for Splatoon 3. Like, farming specials is a joke. So much heavy reliance on just building up specials. Like Sploosh Neo, for example, is terrible. I think there's I can't remember specifically who took the screenshot, but there's a screenshot of someone using 17 missiles. 17 Tenta missiles. So hopefully they can balance the things out a bit. I mean, you know, Ink Armor is a very defensive special, and Tenta missiles is a very aggressive special, so I can understand. But like, when a team you go against has 2 armor weapons or 2 Tenta missile weapons, and you haven't got a single armor or Tenta missile on your team, usually the other team would win. Normally, 9 times out of 10, that would happen. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked because of Big Bubbler. Oh gosh, the whole name of it, the whole concept of it is just triggering me because of the. It's just dumb. Anyway, let's carry on because you don't want to hear me rambling all day. And thank you for listening this far too, by the way. I appreciate you guys listening and enjoying this as much as I think you might be. I don't know. So the Big Bubbler consists of 3 parts. The barrier generator, which is, I believe, the thing on the top or the bottom. Okay, so no, that's on top because there's a launch thing on the bottom. And the barrier itself, so the big... See, I mean, they call it the barrier itself. Like, no one's calling it the bubbler barrier. It's the actual barrier itself. The launcher, is an inkling or octaling-sized spinning top launcher, which changes color to match the user's ink. So, faces upwards, has a squid beacon-esque contraption at the top, which I feel like might be the weak point. So, like, if you want to, like, as you know, with Ink Armor, you could shoot down Ink Armor eventually and get splat, but maybe that could be like the weak point for the special. I forgot to mention with the Tri-Ink Strike too, like with the beacons, is that a potential, like when you get the beacon launches, can you shoot the launches before the missile recognizes where the launcher is? I wonder if that's a thing that will happen maybe. The generator itself has a hemispherical shape, changes color to match the user's ink, and has a white aerial screw at the top of its propeller. The barrier itself is a big blue translucent sphere with light blue lines. And that should be called a barrier. When deployed, it creates a temporary immobile spherical barrier with the generator at the barrier's top. The barrier itself cannot be penetrated by enemy ink. Surprise, surprise, hence why it's called the Big Bubbler. Although, okay, quickly, you think if it was meant to be like a big shield, do you think bubbler sounds anywhere near as, you know, intimidating as a barrier? Oh, you can't penetrate my little big bubble. Mate, you touch a bubble. Have you seen a bubble? Like, they're like, blick, gone. Blick, gone. Like, this, a bubble. Barrier makes all sense. Barrier sounds really intimidating and, like, you don't want to mess with it. Jeez Louise. Anyway, the barrier itself cannot be penetrated with enemy ink, sorry, as I said that, and detonates enemies' bombs on contact. So it sounds a bit like a booyah bomb, like when you throw a bomb into a booyah bomb, like a splat bomb, sorry. It just don't even think about it, it's gone. The shield shrinks if the generator is hit by enemy ink. It is currently unknown if the squid beacon launcher is purely aesthetic or can be super jumped to. Ooh! That could be actually quite interesting, because if I have not, why didn't I think of that earlier when I was writing this? That's actually really, if that's possible that you can actually super jump to this, that would be a lot helpful for like when you're recovering, like you're 2 down, you deploy the barrier if somewhere like in a semi-aggressive position, and like if your Octobrush is coming in, like that would be amazing. if that happens, that actually wouldn't be too bad. I'm still mad about the name though. As we know of, it is a part of the Splat Roller set. I thought it was part of the Charger set, unless I saw that wrong, which maybe I did. No. According to the Live Forum Squid Research Lab, the Big Bubbler is an improved and larger version of the Bubbler from Splatoon 1, obviously. Prior to the release trailer, the Big Bubbler launch has no squid... Oh, so it has no beacon-esque contraption at the top. Okay, so obviously when we saw it in the game, it just looked like it, maybe. But who knows? And obviously, I've said this 3,000 times already, the Japanese name is so much better, the Great Barrier. If GooTuber has Great Barrier Nagami-san, you will not hear the end of it. You will never hear the end of it. Oh, please Nagami-san, please Nagami-san, please. Kudasai. Please don't put Great Barrier with Soichu, please. I could see it probably being with Squiffers, actually. Squiffers will make more sense. Anyway, moving on from that disgrace of a special. Semi-disgrace. Okay. Sorry, Nagami. Sorry. Okay, the next special. Moving on. Crab Tank. Now, Crab Tank. when we saw the first trailer for Splatoon 3 and this thing came out, I was like... I was so confused. Like, is this real? Is this real life? A crab tank? I wondered if the people behind the game just watched that crab rave meme too many times and just like, you know, what would be a good special? Crabs. People have a good crab rave, don't they? Dun 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 dun. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing now, because people are going to be using crab tank, and in their heads, crab rave meme song is going to be going off. It's just like, I feel like that's marriage made in heaven. That's a couple made in heaven. That one. That's a set done deal. Like, as soon as you use crab rave is in your head. Trust me, it will be. But yeah, didn't know what to think about it. I originally thought maybe also like, did they just copy the dude from Overwatch? Like literally that big ball dude, that hamster dude. I can't remember his name, but he turns into a ball and he has a big wrecking ball mechanism thing. Like, because we saw in the trailer, you can roll around in it, which is so cool. But yeah, I kind of don't mind it. Kind of do, kind of don't. Because the thing is too, like, I don't know, this is a special that's going to be heavy reliance. Like, it just seems weird, because I feel like... I said this before in the GooTuber server, which exists, guys. If you want to be part of the GooTuber Discord server, there is a thing. Just ask me for it somewhere. I don't know. If you want to ask me on Twitter or Discord, ask me. Crab Tank. This was something I was talking to in the people in the Goo server about. Like, is this going to be like the new thing where you get a Splashdown cancel? You get a Crab Tank cancel? And similar with the Zipcaster. Is that the new Splashdown cancel? It's like, guys, I just got a Zipcaster cancel. Like, that doesn't sound nowhere as cool as a Splashdown cancel, because Splashdown cancels, I mean, that is easy now, but like... like that first Splashdown cancel begins, it's like, oh, I got a Splashdown cancel. Now these days, it's like, oh, I just got a Splashdown cancel. I'll clip it, but I don't think I'll post. But it's like Crab Tank cancel. It just... Or Zipcaster cancel, like, these sound so dumb. It's gonna be funny listening to people commentate and people playing the game, like hearing what they have to say on vocals on comms. So I don't know. I reckon it's gonna be cool though. The Crab Tank. So it's a crab-shaped mech, obviously. It can cut up into a ball. It's out of shells, changes color to match the user's ink. It is armed with 3 turret-like cannons, one on each front limb and one in the center of the body. So that's where that cannon comes out, I believe. So far, it has been confirmed that it can walk and strafe like players, which is kind of neat. As well as curve up to a ball to move faster and climb walls. It also inks the surface that it moves on, similar to the baller. So yeah, this is kind of like the baller but with guns. Like, what can we do with Baller but make it more crazy? I know, turn into a tank and give it guns. Yeah, and not just give it guns, give it like a rocket, well, not really a rocket launcher, like a little grenade launcher kind of type thing. So, yeah. It appears to have 2 firing modes, so like I was saying, the arm cannons, and then the ball of that explodes at contact, which is, I guess you can compare that to like an explosher, but slightly smaller. Yeah. The 2 modes seem to be activated using R and ZR, I think. Because it says ZR to shoot, ZR to shoot. The crab tank will flash red when the timer is almost out. Warning, use the special will run out soon. Once the special ends, the crab tank will disappear and the player can move with nearly any delay. So, like with Baller, I guess. There's no real invincible frames when you come out of Baller, I guess, really. So, I guess this might work the same. Most statistical information, such as duration, base damage, are currently unknown, but is apparently is part of the Clash Blaster and Splattershot Pro set. So that's... I don't know. Not sure how I feel about that. I feel like that Splattershot Pro, that's probably not too bad. Considering like pros in Splatoon 2, Inkstorm, Bubble Launcher, and Booyah Bomb, which is the most stupid thing ever. I mean, it was nice, but just, nah. Killed the game. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be giving you that many high KDs, maybe, but who knows? It depends if there's any vulnerable spots on the back. Because like when I was talking about, guys getting crab tank cancel would be cool. Like, because you see the Inkling Octoling when they're riding the crab tank. They're sitting on a seat basically, but their back's exposed. Their back of the Inkling Octoling's exposed. I wonder if you and get a cancel when you could just simply snipe them or shoot them, on their back. I wonder if that will work. But I guess if you do that, like especially if you're a shooter, you're shooting their back, they panic and they go into a ball and roll away. Maybe I reckon that's probably what's going to happen. So here's a fun little trivia fact: the crab tank resembles a crash test dummy. Which is kind of funny though, because like you don't think of it like you're like, it looks like a crap, and then I think it's got, from memory, it's got the yellow white stripes or yellow grey stripes on the side, or yellow black maybe, which is obviously like what crash test dummies have. Yeah. The outside cannons resemble a style of junction exhaust headers, mainly used in speedboat engines, which if you haven't seen speedboats, oh boy, they are something. They so fast, so loud, and yeah, you do see like on the back they've got these kind of crazy exhausts. But yeah, so yeah, crab tank. It's a lot better than some of them we've mentioned so far. Most of the specials we've mentioned so far. But yeah, it should be fun. I reckon. I'll give it a go, definitely. Not sure how it's going to go with special power up though, but who knows. Special power up, by the way, my thoughts were with Zipcast that it increased duration, I believe, and for Bubbler, I feel like with Bubbler it'll increase the HP of the barrier itself. So yeah. See, even I'm calling it barrier, even though it's called Bubbler in English. So I feel like people are going to be calling it barrier anyway in English. So yeah, can we start a petition to change the name? Which quickly, I'm not sure if this is true, but someone tweeted about the fact that there's a petition to change the angle shooters to something else. I can't remember, something to do with permanent marker. I can't remember, but yeah, if you do your research, there's a reason why it's called angle shooter for a reason, and it makes more sense. But yeah, there was a petition for that to change, which is stupid. Anyway, moving on to the next special, we've got 2 more left. We've got 2 more left, including this one. So this is one of the most recent specials I believe they announced. I could be wrong, but I feel like this was very recent. The Ink Vac. Fun fact: the Ink Vac. Actually, I'm just going to cut to it. The Japanese name is Cuve Ink, which is, it feels like to me it's like they just took the words and made it backwards. But then the Dutch name for Ink Vac is basically Ink Thief, which is kind of clever because basically, as we've seen in the trailers for it so far, it's essentially the opponents are shooting towards the player who's got the Ink Vac, but the ink is from their weapons is going straight into this vacuum. and then they use that ink from the vacuum to use against the opponents that were shooting at it. An ink thief. That's such a good name. Well done to the Dutch. Well done. Well played, GGs. You guys got a good name. Ink vac is apparently also a pun for the ink sacs that squids have, apparently. Well, no, they do. Not apparently. They do. That's a fact. So, yeah. Alright, let's get to some information about the ink vac. So, the ink vac is based on a diesel-powered backpack vacuum cleaner, or also like a blower, I guess, because I've seen more blowers with like the diesel-powered run or whatever. Petrol, I should say, or gas. You guys say gasoline over there in the NA. We say petrol. But then diesel, I don't know if you guys call it diesel as well, which is like the other version that you put in trucks or whatever, 4x4s. The backpack consists of the ink canister and the engine. The ink canister is white with a dolphin logo on the front, facing the user from the back, facing away from the user's back. So I believe that's like the dolphin logo from Splatoon 2, maybe if it was in Splatoon 1, I can't remember, but the dolphin logo, which is cool. A cyan top at the cyan cap at the top, and 2 cyan and black backpack straps, which, you know, you gotta have comfortable, gotta have those straps on, make sure they're nice and tight. As the ink vac absorbs more enemy ink, the canister gets filled by the glowing ink of the ink. The ink vac uses a colour. So if there's purple ink coming in, it turns yellow into the sack, and then that yellow comes back out and gets fired at the people. The engine is a cyan and control with a control panel on the left side. If viewed from the user's back, a gauge or gauge with a starter rope on the front. So for those who have used garden tools, specifically petrol ones, there's like yeah, it's kind of what this is talking about. Like that's on the side, which is weird because I don't feel like they're gonna need it anyway. Like it's kind of silly nothing about it, but anyway. It also has some warning labels on the right side, a black tube frame, and a black board on the back. Coming out of the engine's right side is a hose connecting to a massive nozzle. The nozzle is cyan and black, so obviously this is very... I'm trying to think of any power tool brands or anything like that that are blue and black, but I can't think of the top of my head what colour that might be. Like Husqvarna are the only brand, English brand, well, I shouldn't say English brand, the only brand I can think of globally that have blue. Husqvarna. But I don't know if they do gardening tools. But anyway, so it also, coming out with the engine's right side is a hose connecting to a massive nozzle. The nozzle is cyan and black with another dolphin logo on the right side, one handle at the top, another handle at the back, and some orange bolts securing the nozzle, and a pair of wheels at the bottom of the nozzle's orange tip, which would mean it will make like a blower than an actual vacuum. I don't see petrol powered vacuums these days. Only blowers. So like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not in the right places to see them in real life, but anyway. So when deployed, the ink vac creates a vortex and sucks in enemy ink, which can be used to protect allies from it. Opponents caught within the vortex appear to be applied. Actually, just back on that, I shouldn't have should have this so quick. So basically, this thing can work as a defensive thing too, because like, say like, there's you got your team right in front of you, and then in front of them there's like these two shooters going at them, and then if you apply the ink vac, if the vortex is far enough, you can actually protect your teammate by taking that ink in, which is kind of cool now I think about it, because in the trailer video we saw two clips. We saw the clip of them just sucking in air and then shooting it, and the explosion being small, but then the clip of the two enemies shooting at it, and then when he took more ink, the explosion he shot out was bigger. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool though in a situation where there's a teammate in front of you and they're in danger. So yeah, or I don't know if I wrote this in the notes, but potentially maybe imagine like, so there's a crab tank on the other team, and they sort of shooting towards you. Can ink vac take in the ink from the specials, the weapons that are being used? That would be interesting to see. Opponents caught within this vortex appear to be applied with a toxic mist-like effect. So like kind of, I think it's more like an electrical, look like more electrical thing. Though uncertain whether it only slows them down or if it also makes them lose ink. Whenever the ink vac sucks ink. It creates distinctive sounds that can be heard by both teams, potentially cueing opponents to stop shooting at the vortex, prevent fueling explosive shots. So instead of doing that, you might want to run away because like you're just fueling the fire. At the end of the special, so there's at least one shot, which makes sense. You only do one shot. 2 shots sounds too OP, or 3 shots. After a brief delay at the end of the special durations, the ink fact shoots out projectile ink that displays a radius upon impact. Similar to Splashdown to a degree, yeah. This is kind of like a portable Splashdown, but like only reliant on how much ink you have in the sack. Before exploding shortly afterwards, splattering opponents within the radius. The radius increases more enemy ink sucked before shooting the explosive projectile. As of now, so it's in the Splat Charges kit. That's what I saw, not the roller. Okay, or not the kilowatt. Sorry. So yeah, just a few notes there. Interesting to see that it's got the dolphin logo. To be honest, I don't remember seeing it in the trailer, but yeah, going through the notes, like yeah, it is definitely there. And last but not least, the ink. Well, not really ink. The Trizuka basically is the last one we're talking about here. I don't think I've missed any. If I've missed any, please have a go at me somewhere. So I know that I'm stupid, and but I'm pretty sure I did my research beforehand. I think this is all 7 of them so far. Like I was saying at the start of this episode, I'm not sure about Bomb Rushers returning. They might. I'm not sure. Bomb Rushers have been in Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, so there's a possibility that there will be in Splatoon 3. But that's yet to be known yet. But we can just assume they are for now, because we were kind of assuming that maybe all weapons in Splatoon 2 will be returned to 3, and they have said that both weapons from 1 and 2 will be returning, which is nice. So, Trizuka. Right, Trizuka. Oh my gosh, it's Inkzuka from Splatoon 1, but they've jazzed it up with some steampunk design, and it looks whack. And I'm not just saying that because that's part of my name, but it's crazy looking. So the Trizuka, it looks similar to the Inkzuka, but with a more industrial steampunk design, with some of the green and orange colours being replaced by the grey or the user's ink colour. 3 ink tanks captures attached to the Trizuka, which makes it look like an engine, like a proper real engine, which are ejected one by one when the Trizuka is fired. So yeah, nice little, and also with the capsules, they kind of look like a Tenta missile bottle. Like if you've seen up close a Tenta missile bottle, slightly bigger than that, but yeah, nice little design there. The Trizuka appears to be a modified Inkzuka that shoots out 3 big globs of ink that travel in an arc before hitting the ground. Now that's a cool little thing, like because I think in this like a rotating spiral kind of thing, that travel an arc before hitting the ground instead of an ink tornado. So yeah, in Inkzuka Splatoon 1, it was just a big torpedo, I believe from memory. Tornado, sorry, did I say torpedo? I said tornado, yeah. The projectiles seem to be also goable through opponents, which is good, I think that's good. It's a special weapon and it should better go through. Yeah, that makes sense. The Trizuka can only be fired 3 times before reverting back to the main weapon. It seems to be part of the Splattershots kit, which I think that seems to be right for Splatoon 1, how Splattershot also had Inkzuka. Yeah. So who knows? This Trizuka is something I probably would like for GoTuber, potentially. Well, the special so far, it just sounds fun. Like, yeah, like you're holding charge behind a wall or something, and then if you have the special, so they're going for a hard charge shot. If you miss, then you can panic with the Trizuka if you're quick. But yeah, it looks fun. This is the special that I'm looking forward to the most because of the fact that was in Splatoon 1. And like it's just a big giant rocket launcher. Essentially, it's all it is. So this is I did this bit of research before I started this show, just this episode. The Japanese name for Inkzuka in Splatoon 1 was Super Shotto. And so I was like, so I wonder if the Japanese name for it in for the Trizuka would be different. It is different, not much, but it's cool different. It's called the Ultra Shot. Ultra Shot. That's such a cool name, Ultra Shot. Like, because I think shooters, like the Japanese names for most of the weapons are called shooters, which is fine because that's what they are. But Ultra Shot though, it just sounds so cool and better. So yeah, again, Japanese names probably win this time round. Trizuka, the Ultra Shot. I don't know, Trizuka Ultra Shot. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think in the, I was gonna say comments below, but yeah, I guess because this will be a VOD as well on YouTube. So these episodes are available on Spotify via Anchor. And there's also the VOD, which will go up on every Saturday. So if you don't catch the stream live on twitch.tv/WakaChecker_, links in the description, by the way, for all these links. So you can catch it on Spotify via Anchor. So you can just search in Spotify, Splashdown Under Podcast, you'll find it. It'll be up on my YouTube channel, link in the description for that. And on Twitch as a stream VOD. So yeah, you can see all the fun that we have with the interactivity that we have with the people. But obviously, being a podcast, people are more interested in just listening, which is 100% fine by me. So, yeah. So that's basically rounds off the specials, guys. So, I know I didn't have so much to say about Trizuka, but, like, it's just something I'm looking forward to because, obviously, being a Splatoon 1 throwback special. I mean, Killer Whale also kind of grabs me a bit. Ink Vac. Oh, boy, I'm kind of excited for Ink Vac as well. Crab Tank, I'll give it a go. It does sound fun. It feels like it could be a bit slow though, a bit janky. Big Bubbler just doesn't exist to me. It's just, I'm just ignoring Big Bubbler for now. It's just, nah. It ain't a friend of mine. Zipcaster, I mean, it's just Inkjet, but it's different, basically. So, yeah. Let me guys think what you reckon is your favourite special that we have so far from Splatoon 3. Like I said, yeah, my favourite is probably Trizuka, followed by maybe Ink Vac or probably Ink Strike. Yeah, but let me know below. This was a good episode actually because it kind of, we're 100 plus days, just over 100 days till Splatoon 3 comes, so this has kind of helped me be a bit more excited for Splatoon 3 and I hope it helps you guys get excited for Splatoon 3 as well, basically because like a lot of Splatoon 1 players who went from Splatoon 1 to Splatoon 2 really found that Splatoon 2 was not like the pure Splatoon game. Like Splatoon 1 probably was the most balanced, most even game, and Splatoon 2 has gone through such a crazy path. It's 5 years old. I think it's nearly 5 or 6 years. I think it's 5. It might be going on 6 before Splatoon 3 comes out. So it's just an old game now, and the meta is stale in Splatoon 2. There was a bit of a phase there for a bit where Splatoon 2 pros were going back to play Splatoon 1. And yeah, I just remember seeing, I don't know if they were being facetious or sarcastic, but a lot of them seem to be honestly saying that Splatoon 1 was the better Splatoon game. So hopefully Splatoon 3 gets it right with these specials, like especially the balancing, and maybe there's a better way of getting the specials, like so you can enable them, like instead of painting so much certain points, because people were just so fixated on special charge up and just painting spawn for the first 10 seconds of the game so they can use Tenta missiles, which is not fun. Same thing with armor as well. Like Splattershot got that 150 ink tank increase, whatever, just so more people could throw bombs and spam ink armor more. Well, goodbye Ink Armor, it was nice knowing you. Goodbye Tenta Missiles, it was nice knowing you. Goodbye Stingray, I barely knew you, but it was kind of nice knowing you. Hello Splatoon 3 specials. I mean, goodbye. I mean, I don't get to know you, Big Bubbler. You're a disgrace. And maybe Zipcaster. Less convinced on Zipcaster. But yeah. Splatoon 3, like I said, can't wait for it to come out. Hopefully we see a lot more playership from Splatoon 1 come to Splatoon 3, because obviously we can understand why they haven't been playing Splatoon 2. Not that great of a game really at the moment. It's so stale. Splatoon 3, hopefully you bring a nice fresh twist and a nice fresh balance to the Splatoon series, because we kind of need it, especially for the specials, because specials really are killing Splatoon 2. Not in a theatrical sense, but just like it's like you go to play a ranked mode, and say for example, you're playing Splat Zones, and you go to play, I can't wait, I'm gonna have fun, playing my favourite weapon, I'm gonna have so much fun, and the other team's got 3 ink armors and 1 Tetris missile, and you're like, why did I play this game again? So hopefully, we get a good special balance. That's all I'm hoping for. Good special balance, a nice way of a fresher way of how we actually use them and get to them and whatnot. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the description below on the YouTube video. Otherwise, I'd love to hear your thoughts in my Discord. There'll be a link for that as well in the show notes. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thanks for listening.